Hi, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Finance on Your Terms with your host, Mike Benaziac. Thanks so much for tuning in. We are at our second in a series about, I'm going to call it the Pantsless series because, that kind of makes sense. The Pantsless series about things that are maybe hidden or behind the scenes, things that we don't always know to think about or ask about, but are going on around us. So things that you can't see, like on a Zoom meeting or on a meeting like this. Am I wearing pants? Am I not? I don't know. So that's where we're at. Last week we talked about automation and technology. Today we are going to talk about rules of thumb and financial calculators. So rules of thumb, and I have probably mentioned this many times before on these video series, but I get the question a lot, day in and day out. I've got this much saved. Am I set for retirement? I've got this much saved. Is that about right for where I'm at age-wise, situation-wise? Do I have enough to retire? And the bottom line is I don't know. I don't know your exact situation. And that's where, we've developed rules of thumb about everything in history because a lot of times that helps ease our mind. So from a behavioral standpoint, it just helps us to say, oh, okay, it can slot me into a group. It can get me a quick answer without having to go through all of the other steps. And some rules of thumb can be helpful. They can start the guidance. They can start the conversation, but that's about it. To truly know your situation, we need to delve deeper. So rules of thumb about finances, just along with everything else, are no different. There's a lot out there. They will tell you by age 35 you need to have 1 times your salary, or by that you need to have 2 times this, or this amount by this age, or this, but it's all over the place, and there's lots of them. And some of them are a little more credible than others, just based on some statistics or research. But remember, take it with a grain of salt. They're just rules of thumb. So it's probably best to have more of an in-depth financial analysis or use a more in-depth calculator. And that's the next portion of this. All right. The next portion of this is all about those calculators. There are hundreds, and I bet you your retirement plan has one. I mean, if you Google financial calculators, they're all over the place. Heck, you go to a financial news site, they're going to be there, and there's going to be a lot of them. Behind the scenes, okay? The pantsless perspective on this is these calculators, they go a step further than those rules of thumb. You're actually able to input some data, and it will help say, all right, based on this, and this, yes, it looks like this will produce your net worth growing at this amount will produce this much through retirement. The one thing I will caution about is assumptions. What assumptions is it using? Because a lot of times these calculators default to a rate of return that might be a little higher than reasonable. My thought is that I would rather look at a more conservative perspective or a conservative projection, just because better overshoot or under promise and over deliver versus the opposite. And some calculators allow you to change that rate of return. Some calculators don't. On the same lines, some of them allow you to change your life expectancy. Some don't. Some allow you to change other variables that might come about, unexpected life events, changes. So there are some simple calculators out there. There's some more in-depth calculators. But what assumptions are they using, and what assumptions are they allowing you to change? And are you actually using assumptions that you feel are reasonable and give you a conservative perspective on what your financial future? Because again, under promise, over deliver, that is the goal. So I'm not saying don't use them. Again, they are helpful. A lot of times they're quick, easy, right in front of us. They can be a nice tool to kind of help us benchmark along the way in a simple way. But I don't think it's the end all. Okay? I think truly to get a financial analysis and think of what we're talking about. This is your financial future. This could be your retirement, maybe kids' education. All right, could be life insurance. Whatever it is, these are very important and big things. And I know we're all in a hurry, but take the time, understand what exactly it is that you're looking at. What can you manipulate? What should you be able to manipulate? And then when it's actually time or when it makes the most sense to sit down and talk with somebody as well. So, rules of thumb, calculators, some things may be going on behind the scenes that you may not know about, or maybe the research or the assumptions that are there that you can't change, that you should be asking about or should be thinking about as well. So, that was it for today's Pantsless Perspective, or Finance on Your Terms episode about behind the scenes in finances. My name is Mike Benaziak. Thank you so much for tuning in. Again, please share this video and share any additional topics you'd like to hear from me. And we will see you next week. Thanks.